Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you a little demonstration on how to make a couple of different roof designs in Fusion that we will then 3D print. So we're going to do a comparison between a gable roof design and a hipped roof design. So a gable is kind of similar to your classic A-frame, um, but yeah, I'll show you the difference. One has two slope sides, the other in this case will have four. And the main purpose of this particular roof is for um, rainwater collection because it's not necessarily for a house. So I'll jump straight into it. And I'll just pause as I go through. So I'll make this quite large just to show you how you can actually cut it up and print it in different parts. But yeah, I'll get into it. So first I'll lay down a sketch here and I'll make like a solid base. So I'll make this intentionally larger than a standard print board on our bamboo lab printers here. Start there. And then I'll raise that up by 3mm because that's the usual width for the plywood that we use for our laser cutter, but I will add extra parts onto this as well. And so what I'm going to do next is just make a kind of raised section here. So there'll be three kind of main posts going up to support the roof. I'll actually model the frame and then I'll model everything else as the actual texture of the roof is corrugated iron. So in this particular case, I'm going to be going through and offsetting this middle one. So it can be a little bit hard to do these kind of edge offset things in the middle of a particular material. So I'll actually use the offset for this straight line here, and I'll go symmetric, and I'll make the distance 8. So you'll end up with this, and then what you do to the original is you just make that a construction line, so you still have your reference. Yeah, this is actually 8 on each side, so that should be 4. Cool. And I'll go along and make this one as well. So this is, in this case, 45. And you can either offset that or draw another line the same height. Shortcut D for dimension, and dimension that the same way as you dimension this one. Cool, all good. And then from here, I'll just put across a sketch like that. I might as well make I'll dimension this to be horizontal, and I'll dimension this to also be the same distance as this. So I'll keep referencing that dimension. And keep going up like this. So what I'm actually going to do is model it the way, like similar to the way someone would build it, with the posts and everything like that as well. And what you're looking for is one selectable area. So if you want to, you can go through, use the trim command, trim out this so you're maintaining the area that you want to build. And so the indicator for something you can use is that, so it's all blue. So from here I'll go up and start making my the frame for the roof. So I've got the angle of my roof up here. Looks like there's a little extra line that I don't really want. It's like that. So yeah, I've got my angle of my roof here. If you want to actually find the proper angle, you can just dimension it like this. So this is sitting at like 16 degrees. I haven't done my research on the angle of standard gable roofs or anything like that, but I'll just leave it like this for now. I can also dimension this because I have this kind of locked in as a sketch. I haven't locked in that dimension of that length of that line, but what I can do is move this up and down. It should stay to that kind of length. If I go here and change if I delete the angle and go and change the length of this reference line, you'll see how the roof will go with it. But if I lock in a dimension of this angle here and go there, I don't think I'll be able to change it. So if I change it back down to 50, yeah, so it starts to mess with it because it tries to maintain that 20-degree reference that I've set. So if you delete your angled reference and then just measure it, you'll be able to change this a bit more freely. Last thing I'll do here is offset this line, and that will be 8 as well. Okay, and then again, I'll use my trim tool and just combine these lines. And what I should see is something like this. So there's a little frame, and then what we'll do is we'll extrude this again and again, and then build our frame on that. Okay, so I've got this finished sketch here, and what I want to do next is turn this into a new body. So I'll go finish sketch here, and then with that still selected in that area, I'm going to extrude it, and I'll make it the same width, 8 millimeters. In this case, it'll be -8. So let's put a negative in front of that. Okay, and instead of join, I'm going to make it a new body and go OK. So I should have the base plate here and then body 2 there. Now, really, it's up to you what you want to do with this next part. And that's that decision is how many times you repeat it out this way. Also, if since this is a smaller printer, probably it would be wise to go in and put one more vertical here. So I'll go in and use the same technique I did before. I've got a line here that I can offset, so I'll go to offset, I'll go to this line, symmetric, and 4 mils, and go OK. And then I'll go and select both of those lines and change them from a construction line to a solid line, and then trim up everything so it's what I want it to be, and trim that up too, and I'll finish that sketch. So that's all regenerated into something there as well. What this central part here will let me do is, if I'm using a smaller printer, I'll be able to cut this down and then glue them together later. Okay, so from here I can take this one body and do a repeat. So I'll go pattern, rectangular pattern. On the axes, I'll pick this green axis here. I'll go 4, and I'll change this to an extent, and the extent will be to 300. Okay. So you can see there that's going past 300, so it'll be 300 minus 8, which is 292, and that'll be nicely on the end there. Okay, so those 3 things I can either laser cut or 3D print. This would be, you can layer it together or whatever you want to do, find the appropriate thickness of material, or you can take this down. Here in our studio we've got 6mm poplar, which you could cut that out of. The next phase would be to make the roof, and so what we would do here is do a new sketch onto this part here, and really what we want to do is just outline all of this. So we should be able to use these parts of the sketch. So it's not quite linking there, so if I go here and project that line and just make it a construction line, that'll be a reference for me. And I do a 2-corner rectangle and put that there. I want to make that a solid rectangle, not a construction line. So there, like that. Awesome. And then I'll just finish that sketch and start to extrude up. Just make sure to pick that bit and extrude, and I'll put that up by, say, 4mm should be fine. Okay, a little mistake there. If I go to edit, that was joined, so just new body is fine. Okay, and if I want to make a little corrugated iron texture on this, this is what I'll do. So what I'll do here is add a sketch onto this section and make that, say 5mm or something that'll multiply into 300, and then just repeat that pattern across. So yeah, I'll do that. So for this first part, I will just project the whole. I'll do a solid projection, and then I'll also put in a construction line to kind of shape the kind of little waves of the corrugated iron that I'm making. And I'll make that a construction sketch. And ideally what I'd like is I want to be able to select all of this area above and run a extrude, like a cut, to cut it all back. So I've got that another little line here, and I'm just going to make that really, really small. So I'll go like 0.5 mil, something like that. And then from here, I'm just going to make it go up and on a wave, like up like that, and then back down again. To do that, I'll probably want to make some segments as well. So with a construction line, I'll just go and put in some verticals, here to here, here to here. And you want to make the pattern repeatable, so 2 sections is usually enough for that, but I will put in a third just in case. And then here, you want to space these out. So I'll make that 4 mil. Okay, so little corrugations will go up this way. I might make it a little bit thinner, maybe 3. And I'll reference all of that properly. So I'll start from here, peak up, go down, and then come back up again. And I'll use the spline tool for that. So I'll take that off construction line, start here, go to here, come down again, go up again. I might need one more little part here. And if you're not happy with the way these curves come out, yeah, I need one more section there. So you might want to change your handles to make these kind of horizontal. You could even put in references to these points as well. So you select that and put in a horizontal reference. So I'll do one more here. One more section, that is. Dimension that out. So going from here and just bringing that down, I can see that last one here is out of whack, so I'll go and fix that up. You can dimension handles here as well, which can keep it more consistent. Make this horizontal. Okay, so I've got my curvature here, so I've made that pretty consistent. That other bit I added on there wasn't really good, but what I really want is this bit here, because then I can repeat that. I don't need this bit here, so I'll take that out. And then if I go and select this, I can go and do another pattern repeat for this sketch. So rectangular pattern, and this one, I'll do an extent, so it's 3 millimeters and times 3. Okay, so I'll just keep putting it up. So the extent will be 300 minus 6, which will be 294. And really all I need to do now is put in the amount of these that I should be using. So I'll try 30 to start with. And just check the gap in between, yeah. So 30, no. 40. I could use my calculator, you know. And going back to that pattern here, just double clicking and checking the linkage between those sketches. So here I can see that's linking. So it looks like 50 is it. Okay, and that's what I want to see. And that's what will make my corrugated pattern all the way across. So I'll go finish sketch and extrude. I'll change distance to object and I'll select the other side. Cool, looks pretty good. Now with that body, I don't need to do all that work again. I can just go and mirror this. Mirror that body, it'll be a new body, and all I need to do is select a mirror plane, and that is there, like that. And then probably what I would do here is create another piece that just kind of sits over the top. So there's other things you can do. In this case, the student will be, experimenting with guttering and things like that too. But it's a really good example of how you can use different techniques. So the corrugated part will be done out of 3D, using 3D printing, and the frame will be done out of probably laser cut timber. So you can kind of add bits on after you have this basic design, and you can even model in things like flashing, which will cover up gaps and things like that if this is a rain collecting frame. So I'll go ahead and do that and show you how I've done it in a sec, just to speed things forward. And a little trick you can use here to make these, you'll see this open seam just here. So I'll show you a little trick that you can use to make this kind of sit together perfectly. If you click that surface and then click extrude, and then you go one side, etc. Under distance, go to object. Under object, select the object you want it to extrude to, and then that object is this central plane here. So if I click there, you'll notice that it'll stop, extrude out and stop at that plane. So that's something that can be a bit useful. If you want that just to automatically copy out, you can go back in time, so I'll undo that. You can go here, so you can roll your timeline marker here. And you could probably do that. Yeah, extrude that out. Distance to object, select here, and make that a new body. Because you don't want to join this to this, so what you have to do after is go combine, title body, that body, just join it, and that's it. And then you should be able to replicate that on the other side. So if I go back here, so edit feature, got that selected, to object should be this, so just going back and editing, yeah, and that works nicely there. When I mirror this, I've got to make sure that's not a join, I want a new body. So I can print them separately. Now that should print fine. If you print it on that flat face there, that should link up really, really nicely. If you want to do things like flashing and stuff, you can do that, but I mean, that works quite nicely. If you were building this for real, yes, you would have flashing over the top. Yeah, so I might leave that like that for now, and I can do flashing in the next one. But yeah, guttering, things like that you can do as well. And also rendering, render this as timber, etc. To make it kind of pop. And there you go. You can print that out in whatever silk, silvery looking filament you like. That'll probably come out pretty good. When it comes to, getting this ready for a large print, if you don't have a machine that's 300, what I would recommend is closing that down and going to each body, and you want to run a split body function here. So you go here, body to split, I've already selected it. Splitting tools will just be the plane, and you go OK. And then you probably won't be able to see it, but you can see this body is now split up into two. Where it's split, yeah, that's split symmetrically as well. So technically you could take that one part, print it out 4 times, and you could do all of the roof here. but also for visualization purposes, it's really good to have these kinds of things set up as well. So I'll pause it and then we'll move on with the next roof structure. Okay, so that's pretty much, I'm going to leave that one there. There are obviously other things that I could do to, like guttering and things like that, to make it, you know, a bit more realistic and look better as well. But this is a good component approach to designing that roof. But what I'm going to do next is take this sketch and start the hipped roof design as well. So I'll go to this sketch and edit, then I'll select everything and copy, so Control C or right click and go down to copy wherever that is. Yeah, we go, copy, and then just finish the sketch. You can only copy an active sketch, and you can copy between different designs as well. So what I'm going to do is start a new sketch, go here, and I'll paste that down. Okay, for some reason it's gone you know, upside down. That's easy to fix, so I'll just change the anchor point, which is the origin here, and then I'll just flip that by 180 degrees and that should be fine. So make sure it's in the correct orientation, finish that sketch, and then I can just do the same thing here. So I'll do two things with this sketch. So first I will extrude this out symmetrically for a total distance of 300, and that'll be a new body. Then I'll keep this sketch in view, and then what I want to do here is make a central frame and then kind of cross that over. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'll go here, go to extrude, and I'll do another symmetric extrude for a total distance of 8 mils. Okay, and just so that's clear, I'll go to here and drag that up and render that as fine. I think this one here might have joined by accident, so I'll go and edit that. Right click, edit. It should be a new body. Very, very easy mistake to make. Cool, and then I'll go A, put that in. Now, this may not be the practical solution here, but what I'll need to do is essentially double these over. So I'll take this body, copy it, and rotate it by 90 degrees. I can work out how it's going to like cut together or what have you later on. But I'll take body 2. I'll hit M for move, and I will make the pivot the origin. So I need to move a few things out of the way for that, so I'll go there. Pivots around the origin, and then I just want to grab this and move it 90 degrees. Before I do that, I'm going to create copy, and then grab that by 90 degrees. So this is what I want to be doing, so make sure it sits on 90, there we go, and just go OK on that. So what will happen here is I'll do a frame in between, and yeah, that's how we'll build our hipped roof. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is make a frame that goes along the edge, so I have everything boarded. So I'm going to make that sketch now. I'm not going to worry too much about things clashing. I can go back and fix those things up later. But all I really want is a frame that comes out to here and goes straight down. But then I need that all around the edges as well. So eventually I'm going to have to try and work out a way that it can all, you know, laser cut together. So either miter joints or, you know, doing two separate components could be a way of doing it. But here goes. So I'll see if I can do I'll do a projection of this sketch and just make it a construction line. Go OK with that. And then really all I want to do here, I want to make this a construction line, is make a new frame like this. And then I might be able to go through and turn individual lines into solid. Yep. Good. And then I've got one area here, and another area here. So if I turn these back into construction lines, then all I need to really do is just fill these in with a solid line. So I'll go here to here, and here to here, and just check my work. So I've got something like that. I'll go finish sketch, and what I want to do here is extrude this out, -8. I don't want to cut anything, I'll just make it a new body and just have them kind of overlapping each other for now. So I want another one of these bodies on the other side. So I can just do a simple copy move, create a copy, and just move it the proper distance. So it should be 300 -8. 292. That'll create a new body, and then from here I could make what I need to make, but it'd probably be a good idea to put a bit of a frame over here as well. And obviously designing these to be realistic in their design, what they're trying to communicate. Alright, so we're nearly ready to make our roof design. So one thing I might just go back and undo is when I've got this body here, I might just do a copy, a circular pattern around the edge. Might make it a bit easier just to represent the ideas. So I've got that body axis, this axis. I want 4. And, okay, cool. So I'll put that there. Now the last thing I realise I need to do is I need a kind of diagonal beam here and here as well, and this will help kind of shape the sides of the roof that I'm working with as well. So I'll go forward and do that. So what I'll have to do here is make a custom plane between a few points, or maybe I'll be able to find some geometry that can do that. Maybe a plane between these two lines, and then I'll go and add that in as a frame as normal. So I'll come back to you when I've got some of that sketch done. So here I just made a plane at an angle just up here. I'll put it around the central axis and put that plane there. There's other ways you can do it as well, but that's the type I've chosen for now. So I will make a that's gone silly on me. Cool. Right, so I'll make that like this. And what I want to do here really is what I need is an angle all the way up here to this central part. So I'll go from I'll go here, project that point, and I'll also go to go up to here and project that as well. I'll have a look at my sketch. Cool, so I've got 2 points to kind of work off. Now I can draw my line and go, if I go to the middle of this line here, I'll be fine. And offset that. And then -8. I'm just going to sew this up so I can just extrude it as a beam. Finish sketch, take that, and then I'll extrude that out as a new body. It'll be symmetric, overall 8mm, just like all the other beams that I'm trying to model here as well. That'll be a new body. This will be a little bit higher because of that angle there, so it's a little bit of a problem, but it's okay. I can make it thinner perhaps. Cool, I'm just going to leave this as is for now, just so I can get the concept across. So I've got body 8, and I'll just make it out of my frame network, and then I'll repeat this around again. So I'll go circular pattern, axis will be the central blue axis here, 4, and okay. And there's the kind of basis for my frame there. I know it's not, I'd have to do some pretty major design work to make it all laser cuttable and so it can fit in together. But what I really need are these pieces here so I can actually lay something down flat on top of it. So that's going to be the next thing that I do. So here is where I'll add a new sketch, and I'll be using these as a kind of guide for where I place my next items. And after I draw a flat surface on here and kind of shape it, I'll be able to use that shape to kind of cut out other parts of the frame, just to make the model work at least so there's no clashing parts. So I'll go here, and then I want, I'll go a little bit over, but I want my roofing section to go here to here, and down to this edge here. So I'll go okay. And then what I want to do is just keep extending these out. So make it parallel. Extend this one out. Cool. And then just trim up the excess. So that's there. Then same over here. So that one there, and this one up here. I'll just continue it up here, and then I can clean up the rest of it. So do the same thing. Just okay. Trim and trim. Finish that sketch, and then what I want is this and that. And what I'll do is I'll extrude that up as a new body, 4mm thick. Cool. So what I should be able to do here is actually put the sketch that I made before onto that bottom part there and repeat it. So that's the corrugated iron sketch. So I'll do that. I'll jump across to this one, and go and find the sketch, edit sketch, drag a box around everything, Control-C copy. Go over to this one, add sketch here, paste that on. That's even going into the same position, which is really good. However, I might need to just extend this out a bit more, so I'll go in and delete that, and delete that. And if I can just grab one of these points, I should be able to copy and paste it and move it over, like that. Awesome, and I'll do the same on the other side. Since I'm only doing 2 extra, parts, copy, paste, and oops. Okay, that's good there. And then all I really need to do here is just project the outside of this as a solid line. And then I should be able to select all of that. And once I can do that, I can just go finish sketch and extrude that up. And this time I'll probably have to do an extent, so I'll have to drag that all the way through and go okay. And there's my one side of my corrugated iron roof. And then next what I'll do is mirror it over the other side. So I'll go down to create mirror, select the body, select the mirror plane, and go here like that. And what I'll see first up is a bit of an intersection there. So first up I'll go and to join, so here, change that into a new body, okay, then I'll just do a cut to see if I can make a nice cut in between. So I've tried doing a little intersecting. I probably made it a bit too complicated for myself, so what I'll do is I'll actually drag it back before the mirror, and I will add a new sketch above. So I'll go reference plane from here up above and just make sure it's sitting above that corrugated iron, and then I will go through and kind of trim this body out so it sits nicely with everything else. Alright, so I've got the sketch that I wanted, and I've made this by using the origin point and just going down the middle here, so using the grid essentially because it's all at 45-degree increments, and making that shape which I'm going to use to cut down. And so I'm going to isolate this and show this sketch, so just right click, isolate, so I can just work on this one piece. So I'll select this, I'll go finish sketch, select this area and do an extrude and let that just be a cut and go OK. So now what I should have is a nicely cut part that I can repeat really cleanly. So I'll go right click, unisolate, and turn off that sketch, and then with body 12 I'll go repeat around the central blue axis 4 times, and that's done. So yeah, guttering, things like that you can do after, but yeah, those 3D printed parts will come out really nicely. However, you'll need to do some work on the frame just to make sure that can be used properly, and that's pretty much it.